Hey, fourth graders, we are ready for Chapter 7. That's called The Next Hour or So. And today our goal and objective is that we will be able to use similes and metaphors to paint a mental image. Now, it's time to get cozy and start reading part of our chapter. This one is really long, and so we're only going to read pages 61 to 73. Now, I know some copies might be a little bit different, and so you are going to stop before this sentence. Once we got to the street, we took off running. That's where we'll start for Wednesday. So go ahead and begin reading 61 to 73. And when you're done, you can come back and you can check out our lesson about similes and metaphors. Now that you've read our chapter, part of our chapter today, we're going to take a peek back at similes and metaphors that we've talked about previously this year. So a simile is a comparison that uses like or as. So if I'm comparing two things, like her hair was as bright as the sun, I heard the word as, and I'm comparing a girl's hair being so bright and yellow like the sun. And so that's called a simile. Another way that we can describe and compare two things is called a metaphor. And this is used without the words like or as. So instead of saying her hair is bright as the sun, we could just say her hair is the sun. And that makes an image in my mind, fourth graders, that she must have this really bright blonde hair just like a sunshine. Okay. But here's my question for you, friends. Why do authors use similes and metaphors? There's a reason. And so authors will use similes and metaphors for a couple of reasons. The first is that it makes our language more descriptive and enjoyable. Instead of reading, her hair was blonde, right? Isn't it more interesting to see her hair was as bright as the sun? Okay, so using that language. Another reason authors use similes and metaphors is it paints that picture for our reader. Especially in our story Night of the Twisters, we are getting a lot of images in our mind about what this town is looking like now that the tornadoes have started to begin. It also gives the reader a way to connect with the text. And so as we continue reading in Night of the Twisters, you're going to notice a lot of similes and metaphors in that descriptive language. But besides just recognizing them, fourth graders, we want you to be able to write similes and metaphors. And so your assignment is going to be on these next 3 slides. And you have 2 slides where you'll be writing some similes. So it's started for you and it says, the wind blew like... And then I'm going to have you finish that statement. What are you going to compare the wind to? You can check this one out for the example. Rain came down like, and I filled it in like cats and dogs. Okay, I'm comparing it to how hard it was raining. And the last one says the lightning flashed as brightly as, and you can fill in and compare it to something else. So you have 3 similes on this slide. On slide 7, you'll do the same thing. You'll have thunder boomed as loud as, and then you'll finish that simile. The tornado swirled like, and then you get to create your own. I want your simile that you create to have something to do with Night of the Twisters. Okay? And then that last slide you're going to complete is practicing with metaphors. Now this time, instead of writing the whole metaphor, I want you to create a list of 3 to 4 words that could be used in a metaphor about each object. So if I am going to compare clouds to something, I might say cotton candy. Okay, and so you're going to list 3 to 4 different things that you could compare clouds, a bending tree, and blowing hair. And then you'll submit and you will be done with your reading today. I hope you're enjoying Night of the Twisters so far.